When you have a fungus impregnating your body, getting in your bloodstream, you don't have a symptom. You are what we call polysymptomatic. You go from doctor to you've read the woman's book, right? You go from doctor to doctor to doctor, and they each give you a prescription for another thing. My guest right now has been a friend of mine for several years. Divine Intervention put us together. Aaron Porter has written a book that you won't be able to put down. Not because I forwarded it. I would put it down after that, before that. But because of the content. It started with sinus. Welcome to the show. Always happy to see you. And you're in person, which is awesome. You got on an airplane.
The last time I was here was right before COVID.
Was that a year and a half, 2 years ago? Wow.
Yeah.
Eat, Pray, Get Well. It's sold very well, folks. She and I were laughing. You don't make money on, selling books, but your story is in here. This story is so compelling with Epstein-Barr, with Helicobacter pylori, with chronic sinusitis, with brain problems, skin problems. You talk about it in this book, and that's why I think it's such a good resource for everybody to get a copy of this and read it. Why was it necessary that one person put a book like this together?
Well, I think about where I was when I first got sick as a teenager, and I had no resources. Yeah. The internet was not big, I don't even believe it was out when I was 18.
Yeah.
So I ran from doctor to doctor. I started my job in Manhattan, and at lunch, everybody was going to have lunch and have fun, and I was going to the cardiologist, the ENT. I had symptoms from head to toe,
and
they were only getting worse.
Years old.
Yes, and they started about 1 month into being in that apartment, after moving into that apartment.
Was that apartment the etiology? Was that the cause, or had you been seeded already with this
I believe
mold?
I was already seeded. At 6 years old, we moved out of the Bronx and into a home that smelled like mold. And we would joke how it smelled like mold. And I got asthma, I got allergies, as my sister got allergies, but it was the trees is what they would say. It's the trees up here. So I think it was planted. My asthma was pretty severe. And then I think when I moved into that apartment, I don't know if it was a worse type of mold
or different.
More mold, but my body could not handle it.
You are now a methylator. Could you explain to the folks that DNA mutation, explain what a methylator is and how you found that out?
I found this out recently, and this is part of why I wrote the second edition, because in the 3 years since the first, I've learned so much, and I have had a lot of testing. And I wish people would put aside a few $1,000s, knowing that one day, if you get sick, you're going to need it, because you're going to need testing that insurance doesn't cover. Yep. And that's what I've been doing the last 3 years, and I found out I had the MTHFR gene, which so many people have. They say about 35%. My doctor says it's more like 60. And yes, it's genetic, but you just taught me today that the mycotoxin, aflatoxin, can also create that mutation, which I had in my sinuses.
The papers, the science. I'm going to give you these to read on the airplane going home. But
most importantly, about that gene, which would have helped me and help everyone else who's suffering from mold toxicity, is if you do have that gene, which chances are you might, it disrupts the methylation process, which means you're not going to detox like everybody else. Your liver can't detox like everybody else. And that's just one thing. So imagine you have all these toxins, and it might not just be mold, it could be Lyme, because once you're assaulted by mold, your immune system, now you're open to anything else out there. And so you need to know that information, because there's supplements that can kind of push that methylation along, which you need if you're trying to recover from mold.
You were diagnosed with Helicobacter H. pylori.
Yes.
So many people ask me, what to do. What did you do for that?
Well, I did not want to do the antibiotic route, and I'm not against that. It's just I was on them for 25 years, hundreds of courses, and I did too much to regain what I lost. And so I started doing colostrum, thinking that might knock it out. And so I kind of forgot about it and didn't get tested again until last year. And I said, I got tested. Oh, it's still there. Okay. Well, my doctor gave me silver, and she gave me a protocol for 7 days. It worked. It's
colloidal
gone.
silver. Yeah.
Correct. And so I had to put that in the book. Anything that works for me, it's going in the book. And 7 days, and it's gone. Blood work proves it, and I go about every 3 months, and I get more blood work. Am I deficient in anything? Did I pick up anything?
Your results, folks, may vary, but I hope you find
Yeah.
a naturopathic doctor who understands that the answer isn't always a prescription. They can be life-saving, but it isn't always. In her book, Eat, Pray, and Get Well, Erin expounds on what she did to get better, but more importantly, what she did to find out what was wrong with her. She watched Know the Cause 15 years ago. Great to have you on the set.
Thank you.
Thanks for
having
joining
me.
us. You bet.